Hey everyone, it is Katie G and Elisa D with Let's Get Therapy. As you know, Elisa D has an advanced degree in psychotherapy and specializes in trauma, PTSD, and addiction. And we have another hot topic for you today.
Radical acceptance. What is it? How do you use it? And an example of what it is not. We have a great video for you.
Oh, good.
Yes, I'm excited to share it.
All
I
right.
got to get my screen share up, so give me just a second.
Oh, it's on. I have a feeling this is going to be good, so. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay.
You guys, I'm driving your car, but I just got a notification that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. Could this year get any? Ruth, you just had to make it to 2021.
Whoa. Okay, first reactions, Katie. First reaction.
What was that?
Okay, so I think that you have the reaction of most people. And unfortunately, this has been used all over the media and people are making fun of her. And I actually am really sad for her because clearly there's something else going on besides this like breakdown, right?
Okay, yeah, see, here's where we're different. That's where you have the compassion because you know, and you actually can understand deeper into what that. I just saw an adult having a full-blown hissy fit. That's all I saw.
Right. Yes. I think that's what most people saw. And the unfortunate thing is it's on the internet.
Right. Like you're acting like that. And then on top of it, you're filming yourself.
And the internet is forever.
Right.
The internet does not go away. So
wait, what was that?
Right. Great question. So I believe that was her grieving. I think this was her processing a really huge event, unfortunately on camera, on TikTok. I think it was done on TikTok. And grieving is a messy process. Right. I don't know if you've ever lost anybody or if you've just gone through a situation where your whole life is altered, the course is altered. And the way that you cry, the way that you get angry, all of those things, it's a roller coaster. And she let us in on probably the wrong part of a roller coaster.
Because I'm thinking there has to be some. Okay, so like you said, grieving makes, and I have been there where, and grieving makes you do some very strange things that you wouldn't naturally do. I totally get that. But right. Is there like a dash of narcissism in here? Like filming yourself and then not only just filming it, but then posting it for the world to see?
Right. It's a good question. But I guess that begs the question of, is anyone who records themselves and puts themselves on social media a narcissist?
Now, wait a minute here, Elisa. Okay, so obviously she's processing the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg there.
I would like to assert that, but I would actually like to assert that it's more than just her processing the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because in there, she actually says, you only had to make it to 2021, which tells me that while the death is sad and upsetting, she is more worried about her political values being upheld in the Supreme Court.
Okay. So there's multiple layers here with what she's actually trying to, it's like she's got a lot of feelings, but she's not too sure where she's directing them.
I think that's a great statement. And, you know, we get this, 10-second clip of her processing. And we do hear that she just needed this woman to make it to 2021 so that she could get what she wants politically, is my assumption. And, you know, I don't want to get into politics, but that is, people hold very tightly to politics. Right. Their values are very much wrapped up into politics. Their identities are in there. And so this seems like it's challenging those things for her. And maybe her real value system and her identity is somehow being challenged. And she's really grieving the passing of this woman who represented a lot of those ideologies for her.
Okay. Wow. So now, if you know someone like this woman, or even if you yourself know you're susceptible to, I don't know if I don't want to be rude about it, call it a meltdown, but that's what it looked like to
You
me.
can call it whatever you want. You're not the psychotherapist. I have to be the
Okay, so if you
meltdown.
or someone you know is
Prone to meltdowns.
prone to a catastrophic meltdown like we just saw, what can you, are there tools to like stop that? Are there things she could have done to a little?
Yeah, I think so. And that's kind of where the radical acceptance thing comes in that I was talking about originally. So radical acceptance is not just like, ugh, fine, I accept it, and we roll over and we take it, and we can't change it, and we're in acceptance. Radical acceptance is very different. Radical acceptance is truly accepting every aspect of the reality that's happened, because the idea is that if you don't want to accept reality, you will increase suffering. So we spend a lot of time and energy fighting reality, like this woman is doing, right? She's fighting reality with all of her being.
And she's suffering.
Suffering,
Yeah.
clearly.
Okay, I see. So if she had been able to kind of take a step back and break everything down almost into categories and kind of direct where she was mourning, she could have maybe handled that a little.
I think so. I think so. And it is a skill. Radical acceptance is a skill. It's not something that I think a lot of us are just born with. So this skill was created by a woman named Marsha Linehan, who is the creator of a form of therapy called dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT. It's a really normal modality that a lot of therapists use, and it's skills-based, and it was actually created for borderline personality disorder people, which is it's a diagnosis, but it's a diagnosis that a lot of the features are these explosive emotions, these meltdowny type dramatic events.
Yeah.
How it's characterized. And so this is why this skill could fit very well for this woman, because she's having that very explosive reaction. Yes.
I like explosive reaction. That works.
Right.
I mean, that was a full blown, I mean, you see someone acting like that and I immediately think she's either having a panic attack or that is the next step to where she's headed.
Right. She could have been. That might very well. I mean, she was shaking her steering wheel. I mean, we've all had those moments, but normally, like I said, we're like alone.
Right.
But
and not on TikTok.
The whole world was with her, unfortunately. So radical acceptance. So, you know, one of the things that you have to be able to do first is separate yourself from that initial, ugh, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you feel the feeling, you observe the feeling, and it doesn't mean you have to participate with the feeling, right?
Okay, yeah.
There's a difference.
I like that.
For her, she got a notification, oh my gosh, RBG has passed. And so there's an initial gut wrenching reaction. Doesn't mean that she has to be like, ah! No, it doesn't.
Right.
But
that was not necessary.
She can observe that her stomach got this like gut punch to it. She can observe that her heart might hurt, and she can take note of it. It does not mean she has to react to it. Now, you could react to it, and
you don't have to.
But you
it's
don't.
Your choice.
It is a choice.
Okay.
It is. And depending on, you know, what our patterns have been most of our lives, you know, it doesn't feel like a choice. But once you're able to go, whoa, I could just observe this emotion instead of participating with it, then you've created a choice for yourself.
And then you save yourself from the suffering. Wow. Okay. See, there's a lot, and this applies obviously to way more than just politics and what, I mean, this is a life skill. Absolutely.
Yes. It's a great skill. It'll save you a lot of heartache. So you observe that feeling. The next step would be to remind yourself that the unpleasant reality is just as it is, and it can't be changed. This is what happened. So she needs to observe the gut punch, right? And go, okay, RBG died. What does that mean for me? That means that it's quite possible someone different will be put into the Supreme Court That means some of my personal values might not be upheld the way that I want them to, or at least prioritized or whatever. Not the Constitution might not be interpreted the way I want it to be anymore. And so it's looking at all the pieces. Okay, all right, this is what this means, and this is reality, and I can literally do nothing to change it.
Okay. Yeah, it's like accept the things I cannot change.
Exactly.
Okay.
What am I in control of right now? And in that moment, you cannot bring that woman back to life.
That's a really important thing. I know that this is not right along with the radical, here goes my voice, this wind, I'm not even kidding you. Excuse me.
Radical acceptance.
So with radical acceptance, like with this woman, just being able to accept the fact that there's nothing you can do about it. That's something that even you can apply to anxiety or, because my mom, when I used to start having panic attacks, she'd go, okay, Kate, what can you do about it right now?
Right. Nothing.
And 9 times out of 10, my answer was nothing. And so I like that, because just being able to accept something, and the fact that I hate this phrase, but the fact that it is what it is, that will save you a lot of suffering.
It will.
Wow.
Certain things you cannot do anything about. And that's where we start looping. We've talked about that just like over and over and over. And it is what it is. Now we start getting solution focused, right? Once you've identified this is what it is, what can I change in this situation? I can't change that she died. I can't change that she's going to be replaced. I can't change that there's a possibility my political ideologies won't be upheld the way that I want them, whatever. Then you start getting solution focused. So what can I do? So for her, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly what she can do. She can vote, because that was before the vote. Okay, I have power in my vote.
Right.
So that's something that I can do. Maybe she can get politically involved. Maybe she can become an activist of some kind.
Right. Try to make a difference.
Yeah. Try to make a difference in the way that she sees fit. Maybe she could attend a memorial service, or maybe she could get a memorial going for RBG so that they could honor her life and the accomplishments that she's had and all those things. So there's
something proactive. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Let's get proactive. What can I control? How can I honor this anger and this grief that I'm starting to feel, or that I've felt?
Clearly.
Don't ever react to the gut punch.
Right. Yeah. And if you do, don't put it on the internet.
Right. Just take a little distance from it, observe it. And then, so probably a step before even getting proactive is starting to do some distress tolerance. So maybe that's going for a walk, doing some deep breathing, mindfulness, some like imagery exercises. Start to calm yourself down. Use self-soothing techniques so that you can get to a place where you can actually think about a solution.
Yeah, clear-minded. You're usually not really clear-minded when you get a gut punch.
No, never. Because, and I think we might have talked about this before, but we have this part of our brain, which is like the reactionary part, and then we have our prefrontal lobe, which is where all the logic comes in. And what happens when we get gut punched is we go, and that front part of your lobe gets flipped. And so now you're just reacting with that back part. That's my brain.
Right back here.
So your lid's gotten flipped. Her lid was flipped.
Right.
So now she's just reacting with all of that. So wait until you can bring your lid back down.
I like that. You have to it's amazing how just taking a couple of seconds before you flip, literally.
Yeah. Or flip, and then don't just observe the flip.
Right.
And then go, whoa, I got to bring my prefrontal lobe back down.
Okay. This is great. And especially right now, because there's a lot of reactions going on.
Yeah, that's a great point. And so then noticing the sadness and the grief and the anger that's coming up. those are not bad things. You're allowed to have negative emotions, but you have to notice them. You have to just pay attention to them. And part of radical acceptance is not pushing the emotions away, because that increases suffering too. Because you're like, how do I get rid of this sadness? Like, how do I take this away? And just notice it, just feel it, just be part of it. Go cry if you need to, go yell into a pillow if you're angry. Don't record yourself on social media.
Right. Yes. Or and post it for. I have so many questions for that woman, but I won't go there.
Rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Don't grab your camera.
Yeah. Don't grab your camera. Don't TikTok your panic attack.
Right. But the other thing that I'm thinking is that she must have felt like, I have to show people how upset I am. I have to show people that this is a really, really big deal. So obviously she wanted to make some kind of statement.
Maybe, or maybe she thought that she would post something out like that out there, and others would follow.
Maybe.
You know, she would see someone who is just as upset as she is.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we may never know. I'm not sure her account would exist anymore after how viral that went. But who knows? Maybe she's still around.
We can go search for her.
I'll look her up.
I mean, the best thing that she really could have done with all of that is probably just eat an Oreo, and she would have felt a lot better.
That's all she had to do. Look at that. She could have just eaten the Oreo, and that might have been the thing to take her lid back down.
I mean, the reality is that you should just carry a pack of Oreos everywhere you go.
Yes. That's actually, I'm going to adopt that. I'm going to get some Oreos today because we're out.
Oh, yes. It will decrease suffering. A little split of the sandwich and a bite of the Oreo, it will decrease suffering.
I have figured out what I am doing for the rest of the afternoon. I'm eating Oreos. Next time you see me, I'm going to be 50 pounds heavier.
Hey, whatever. As long as you're accepting reality radically.
Yes, absolutely. I like that. This was a good one, Elisa.
Yeah, I hope it was informative, and there are ways to decrease suffering, and part of that is to live in the current reality that you live in and get proactive in how you can be effective in maybe changing some things, decreasing your stress. There's lots of ways to do that. So hopefully this is helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we've been knocking social media during this episode, but we don't want to knock it to the point where you don't follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We're Let's Get Therapy. If you guys have any topics that you have questions about, or something you would like for us to talk about, you can send us messages. We check them. We read your comments, and we post a new video every week.
Yes.
So we'll be back next week.
Follow us.
And we will be back with another hot topic next Monday.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.